Black woman denied priority check-in. 5 minutes later, she buys the airline. The airport hummed with chaos, a symphony of rolling suitcases and hurried voices. But for Amara Cole, the world narrowed to the smug face of the man behind the check-in counter. Her heart pounded as his words, "Priority is for elite members only, ma'am," cut deeper than they should, laced with a condescension that felt like a slap. Amara, a 34-year-old tech entrepreneur, stood at the counter of Horizon Airlines, her first-class ticket in hand. She'd earned this years of grinding, building her software empire from a cramped apartment to a multi-million-dollar company. Yet here, in this fluorescent-lit terminal, her success was reduced to a glance, a smirk, a dismissal. The employee, a wiry man with a name tag reading Greg, barely looked at her ticket before waving her toward the economy line. "That's for regular passengers," he said, his tone implying she didn't belong. The sting wasn't just in his words. It was in the way his eyes skimmed over her, as if her dark skin erased her status. Around her, the crowd shifted uneasily. A woman nearby clutched her toddler, whispering to her husband. An older man in a suit checked his watch, avoiding Amara's gaze. She felt the weight of their stares, the unspoken judgment that she was out of place. But Amara didn't bow her head. She straightened, her voice steady but sharp. "I paid for priority. Check again." Greg's lips curled into a half-smile, and he leaned forward, his voice low. "Ma'am, I don't make the rules. Move along." The air thickened with tension. Amara's pulse raced, but her mind was clear. She'd faced this before, doors slammed shut, opportunities withheld, all because of who she was. But today was different. Today, she wasn't just a passenger. She was a force. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, a reminder of the deal she'd finalized that morning, a deal that would change everything. 5 minutes earlier, Amara had been on a call with her lawyer, signing the final documents to acquire Horizon Airlines. The company was floundering, its stock plummeting after a string of PR disasters. Amara's firm, Cole Tech, had swooped in, buying the airline for a fraction of its former worth. The ink was barely dry, but the power was hers. She hadn't planned to reveal it here, not like this, but Greg's smugness lit a fire she couldn't ignore. She stepped closer to the counter, her voice cutting through the din. "Call your supervisor." "Now." Greg hesitated, then scoffed, picking up the phone. The crowd grew quieter, sensing the shift. Moments later, a flustered woman in a navy blazer appeared, her badge reading manager. She glanced at Amara, then at Greg, her expression wary. "What's the issue?" she asked. Amara didn't flinch. "Your employee refused me priority check-in, despite my ticket. I'd like to know why." The manager's eyes flicked to Greg, who shrugged. "She doesn't have elite status," he said. Amara's smile was cold, deliberate. "Actually," she said, pulling out her phone, "I have something better." She opened an email, the subject line bold, "Horizon Airlines acquisition confirmed." She turned the screen toward the manager, whose eyes widened as she read. The crowd murmured, sensing something monumental. Amara's voice was calm, but unyielding. "As of 9 a.m. this morning, I own Horizon Airlines. So, Greg, let's try this again. Check me in." The terminal seemed to hold its breath. Greg's face drained of color, his hands fumbling with the computer. The manager stammered, "Ms. Cole, too had no idea." Amara's gaze didn't waver. "You shouldn't need to know who I am to treat me with respect." The words hung heavy, a truth that transcended the moment. Amara wasn't just fighting for her place in line. She was challenging a system that judged her before she could speak. The crowd was silent now, some nodding, others looking away, confronted by their own biases. Greg processed her ticket, his hands shaking, and handed it back without a word. As Amara walked toward the priority lane, she felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about her. It was for every person who'd been dismissed, overlooked, judged by the color of their skin. She paused, turning back to the manager. "I'll be reviewing your policies. And your staff." The manager nodded, speechless. Boarding her flight, Amara looked out at the tarmac, the planes gleaming under the morning sun. She bought an airline, but more than that, she'd claimed her power. The victory wasn't in the acquisition. It was in a reminder that no one could define her worth. Not Greg, not the crowd, not the world. She was Amara Cole, and she was unstoppable. The story didn't end at the gate. Amara implemented sweeping changes at Horizon Airlines diversity training, revised customer service protocols, and a commitment to equity. The airline's reputation soared, and so did its profits. But for Amara, the real triumph was the message. Respect isn't earned by wealth or status, it's owed to every human being. And in that crowded terminal, she made sure the world heard it. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.